So yeah, welcome. Welcome to this live. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much. Please comment and follow me on YouTube. I want to thank you for being here. We're going to talk about the rise of the feminine energy that was suppressed probably, I'd say, after Atlantis fell. We probably had 2,000 years where the feminine was still respected and honored. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we had 5,000 years. But the point is, we all know, having experienced it through our grandmothers and going down the line, the oppression whenever we incarnated as feminines, the oppression, the innate vile rage that the masculine had against us whenever we incarnated as women. So I want to talk about something that I just came across that really, I get fucking triggered. As you probably can tell, I get triggered by shit. And there was a young man talking about he has a picture of a blonde, blue-eyed Jesus. Of course, why am I shocked? The fact that he was Palestinian completely escapes people's common sense, logical brain. But okay, and with Trump putting his hand on Trump's shoulders. And I made a comment saying, I guess Yeshua was trying to talk some sense into him. I don't know, some empathy. But the lack of respect in him talking over me, like I couldn't say a fucking word, and him using the Bible. You want to talk about sacrilege? Using the Bible to oppress women. Using the Bible to oppress people. Using the Bible, and this is something that I don't understand in the African American community. I really don't. I really fucking don't. To use and allow the Bible that was used to actually argue the point of enslaving people. And the most powerful energies that kept the shit together were women. White women. Like Beecher Stowe, who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, which, by the way, has been shamed into the ground by a woman who actually, her book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, by the way, it's in the King and I, the movie, the play, The King and I. Yeah, it's mentioned in that. They do a play about Uncle Tom's Cabin. Why am I bringing all this shit up all into one thing? Because the feminine energy is what has kept families together when they could. The feminine energy is what intuitively knew when there was danger, the way masculine warriors in their arrogance, I'm just going to say it out, okay? Fucked up. They fucked up quite often. It was women who used their energy of intuition, psychic, high priestess energy to save people, to write about injustices. Sappho said it best. Sappho said that people would write about, they would emulate their God in their own image. And you know what she said? I'll never forget this. This was a fragment, okay? That's what they call Sappho's fragment, because the Catholic Church, you can thank them for that, burnt all of her writings. And the reason why we know of her writings is that she was quoted by the likes of Cicero, for example, and other philosophers, statesmen, and so forth. That's why we know what we know. That's why it's called Sappho's fragments, because they're fucking pieces. But anyway, she was talking about if a people were redheaded, their God would be redheaded. She knew this thousands of years ago. She understood the psychology of the human mind, in a little island called Lesbos. She could figure shit out, intuitive. So what's my point? Going back to, and I tell people, from all kinds of backgrounds, to read chapter 1 of Uncle Tom's Cabin. And why? Because there are two men in office in the, what is it? It's not an office. What would it be called in the 1800s? A foyer. They're sitting in a foyer discussing a child, and a black slave woman, an African slave woman, is walking up the stairs with her 5-year-old son, who's about to be sold to two white men. A 5-year-old boy. Why? Chapter 1. So this weird idea of not understanding the psychology of slavery and what it did to human beings, and how they were completely demonized and bastardized in their ability to just be seen as human beings. more like cattle. And don't forget, a lot of slaves, people don't know this, I don't know why, but a lot of them also came from universities. Like Timbuktu is also a word that's been, or a name that's been used to shame people. Timbuktu, oh, you're going to Timbuktu. It was the old fucking university in the world, Timbuktu. But also, many Muslim African slaves could speak and write the Quran. And they could actually, they wanted to pray to Allah. And so we're looking at a stripping down, and we can now compare what happened to the African people who came to America, and they didn't come by they came by force, as you all know. And what happened to the Native American indigenous people of the Americas, who were sent to boarding school, their hair cut off and stripped of languages and beaten for even enunciating their own name, their own native tongue name, mother tongue name. And women, through all of these challenges, have risen to keep the light codes of their own DNA. Because when we come in as souls, right? When I come in as a soul, as a multiracial woman, right? I'm grabbing trauma from these generations, the mixture. It's like making a cake. All the ingredients are in. Each ingredient has its own cellular memory. Each ingredient is going to give me a different outcome, right? If I make a vanilla cake, it's not going to be chocolate unless I add cocoa powder. Or chocolate, right? Cacao. My point is, it's common fucking sense. So when a person says, I'm Scottish, I'm Irish, I'm African American, I'm Native American, and I'm Jewish, they have now embodied all of the DNA reverberation of what that means. And this is science. This is actually science now, because they're realizing that people who have trauma, if a woman is pregnant during a wartime, then not only is her baby going to live with that trauma, energetically speaking, on a cellular memory level for their entire incarnation, but then also her womb carries the trauma of past women who've gone through massive shit. So imagine being mixed with all of these bloodlines who all incurred massive trauma. It's not a joke. And we are the grail, the holy grail, the womb carriers. When we incarnate and when we decide to be women, we have made a massive sacrifice to our peace, because we have decided that we are going to do lineage work. And it takes a badass to take that shit on. Are there women who have the same bloodline who are ignorant of this fact that I share with? Of course, there's tons. You look at the evidence, it's all over. We've got 8 billion people. We're lucky to gather 144 million people not to fucking bump into walls, the walls of ignorance, dogma. So when any masculine, in particular of color, is going to literally school a woman, mansplaining, man talk, slapping on the ass scene from James Bond, right? Man talk. When a man does that, he perpetuates the degradation of high priestesses that became witches. Why? Because they fell. They fell from the pedestal. They were high priestesses, for Christ's sake. I'm going to tell you the story again. Many of you who follow me know this story, but I'm going to tell you again. In the ancient world, I don't know how I remember that, but then years later, I found that what I remember was correct, which means it happened. And it happened to me. And it happened to many of you who will get chills when I tell you the story. If you don't get chills as a male, because you could have been a woman in that time. It could be that you're a masculine. Listen to me right now. And this will give you a chill. It means either you were a warrior or you were a high priestess and you were incarnating as a woman doing this. Okay, let me tell you the story. In the ancient world, when a man came back from battle, battles are battles. Wars are wars. They're fucking horrible. No matter which fucking century, there's nothing to romanticize about the trauma that is imbued into the cell memory, the pain body of a masculine coming out of a war. And we're talking about the ancient world. The imbued into the cell memory, the pain body of a masculine coming out of a war. And we're talking about the ancient world. The masculine warriors coming in. And so the masculine warrior would come in and the high priestesses would tend to his wounds. sewing him up, broken bones, and so forth. After he was healed, spoon-fed, massaged, whatever you want to call, whatever you can imagine. After he was healed, he would take long walks, and I kept seeing, and I always see this, long walks by the seashore. And he would howl and rage and weep. And this high priestess would listen to him and comfort him and hold him as he shed his tears of shame and regret and horror at what he had seen and had to commit to survive. And then after that, when all of that was purged out of his very soul, she would make love to him. And she would make love to him for days. And when he was fully healed, the high priestesses would send these warriors, fully recalibrated, back to their wives, their villages, their people. And this is magnificent. What do we do now? We give them prescriptions to eradicate feeling, when feeling is the very point of healing. Women are the reason why the French Revolution happened. It wasn't men. The men took over, don't get me wrong, but it was the women who went to Versailles and basically told Marie Antoinette to show herself to them. There's a famous scene, and it's true, where she shows herself to the mob and bows herself with her arms akimbo on the balustrade, almost bowing to them. And that assuaged their bloodthirst. But you have to understand that all the way back, and for a long time, the people of France were starving. And one of the reasons why the French Revolution happened, just so you know, because a lot of Americans don't even know, we saved your ass. No, we saved your ass. Without the French, you wouldn't have a country. Let me explain. While people were starving in France, we're talking about starving, children starving, Marquis de Lafayette went to Louis XVI and said, we need money to fight the British. I need all the resources you have, because if we do this, we can win this, and they will be their own, we'll help them build a country, America. And Marquis de Lafayette didn't give one fuck about the peasantry of France, obviously. And Louis XVI was honestly, let them eat cake mentality, which means he was unaware, completely clueless, into his little keys, making keys. And so they gave everything they had to the American, situation, the revolution. And that was the spinning point, the pivot, because at that point there was no extra money to give to the populace of France. And that's what actually literally turned the switch on. Like, it's almost like somebody lit the flame of a, BOMB, since I can't say words, because God forbid we should talk like adults. And fucking boom, it started, okay? And that's, again, women. Women started that. In fact, women were so, and this is why I laugh sometimes, women can be more dangerous than a masculine, because women have patience. And women how to set people up. We just saw that example with that young girl, I forgot her name, and I apologize, God bless her soul, who was pew-pewed in front of a live, that blonde 23-year-old girl. Now they're calling it femicide. So women aren't just the protectors. They will bring into their whole realm the Medusa energy of feminine rage. And feminine rage, when it is imbued by jealousy, is toxic and dangerous as fuck. It's not a joke. It's, hell has no fury like a woman scorned. It's not a joke. It's not just a sentence. Okay? But let's be fair to the women who throughout history have gone through massive trauma. RAPE, many times. Rome was built on the RAPE of the Sabine women. Rome, look at the history of how Rome, it wasn't Remus and Romulus with the, the two little infant boys with the she-wolf. Okay, yeah, that's a cute story. But actually it was the Sabine women. And how they were, how literally it was a trap on the Sabine men who were, their lives were ripped out of their hands. I hate to use the word unalivened. And they took the women. So women have dealt with a lot of unfairness and injustice. And what men continually perpetuate is this lack of fucking respect for women. Whether it's, if she's not fuckable, he's not going to open the door. As opposed to open the fucking door, even if it's for a man, an elderly man, a hot girl, an old woman, open the fucking door. Just be curious. I open the door for people. Men need to be stripped down by men who have honor and who are divine masculines. And you guys need to fucking actually say something. Say something. Because what I'm finding is that there's a very small handful of men speaking about what it is to be a divine masculine, which include not cheating and why that's a bad thing. Why? Even on a business level, I'm going to repeat myself. You've heard me say this before, but bear with me. Smart men are saying, why would I do business with you, dude? You're cheating on the most important person in the planet, supposedly. What, you don't think you're going to fuck me over a business deal? Yeah, I'm not fucking doing business with you. If you're, crowing that you've got a mistress on the side, like, I don't want to do business with you, dude. You're a loser, okay? So there's that new concept of integrity and moral values that divine masculines hold close to their hearts, and they're talking about it. That's a divine masculine. People like Andrew Tate, and I hate to use his name constantly, and other guys who I won't even bother remembering their names. They're a bunch of, they're millionaires. They're older. They will lift weights and they got great arms or whatever. It's like, dude, that takes more than that to fucking make you a divine masculine. Okay. What do they call it? High value man. Why would I think you're a high value man? Because you think it's okay to have a certain age bracket, weight bracket, and look bracket for you to consider having a woman as a quote unquote partner, and really as a quote unquote partner. But let's go back to religion. Religions that oppress any human being are religions you really need to look at. I'm sorry, if I can't follow any religion. I've leaned more towards a couple religions, right? I pull Yeshua out towards me, away from the religious dogma. I pull Krishna towards me, away from the religious dogma. And I pull Radha and Maria Magdalena away from these religious dogmas. Why? Because these religious dogmas, these scriptures, these sayings, these fucking insane, dogmatic, deviant, toxic fucking shit have been used to literally belittle, control, oppress women. And when I was a masculine, I'm ashamed to say I was part of the problem as well. So many of us who actually walked a tightrope between being a badass bitch and being a Shakti energy of softness, I can tell you that we're here to right the wrongs. And if we scare you, my masculine brother, then you should look again as to why you're that scared. Because my little masculine brother, you were that sister that I may have oppressed. And if you can't fucking wrap your head around that truth, then you are not spiritually aligned with truth. You're still slinging, the vines of ignorance in your idea of what it is that we are as soul beings. And we as women cannot feel safe, ever, unless you start calling men out. Because if I call a man out, I will be insulted for my age, for my weight, for whatever. I will not be allowed to speak out because men will speak over me. And trust me, I'm one bitch you don't want to try to speak over, because I will fucking gun you. But a lot of women won't. A lot of women are very gentle and soft and sweet. They're very strong. Don't get me wrong. That softness is not weakness, my friends. It's not. Some of us were born as Kali energy. If you don't know what that is, you should look it up, my friend. Look up what Kali is. I'm a Kali. But some women are Kuan Yin. And Kuan Yin, my Kuan Yin sisters, need to feel safe. And if your dumb ass can't fucking do something about it, then what the fuck are you calling yourself a divine masculine for if you can't go out there and protect and make sure that these women are honored and seen? I don't care where you live in the world. They've got their own problems. I just saw a video on the fact that they have a brothel of robotic women created so that men can do what they want. And you don't think that's going to rewire the fucking brain? The pleasure centers, the deviant pleasure. Now, come on now. Come on. I don't see you guys doing videos against it. Why is it that it's always women that have to do these videos? And then you allow these men to come in and troll their comments and you say nothing. You don't stitch it. You don't shame them. You don't go after them. And you should. You should. Because if you want to have a chance at having a divine relationship with tantric sex and beautiful lovemaking and beautiful connections, you can't have that woman if she doesn't feel safe. Why do you think there's a feminine rage fucking erupting across the world? Toxic feminine rage is dangerous. It's dangerous to women. It's dangerous to men. It's dangerous to fucking children. And you're not doing a fucking thing about it, and you call yourself a divine masculine warrior? Shaman? It takes more than some tattoos and a booty bun to make me look at you with any respect. You're not even taking care of your own brothers who are committing you know what. They're committing you know what. And leaving this planet because they can't even be soft and gentle and vulnerable and sobbing like a fucking 9-year-old because they can't speak to you because you won't receive their tears. You'll shame them, laugh at them, tell them that there's plenty of fish in the sea, and you will literally kick them when they're down. How many divine masculines do we really have? See, now that I've literally broken down divine masculinity as to what it takes, it's an action thing. It's not, I'm just gonna, find who I am, and I'm just gonna go into the woods and camp, and I'm gonna find out who I am. It takes more than that, my friend, to be a divine masculine. Divine masculines are leaders. They fucking lead. Divine masculines go out there and look for brothers who need you. And they create circles and tribes. And they create an atmosphere. God knows the fucking red pillars have done it. It's funny how the red pillars are all about fucking literally tearing us as women down. I find that interesting. So they form groups at the tune of, 70,000 on Telegram? Talking about what they want to do to their mothers, sisters, grandmothers, women. Those groups, they're really funny how they can form groups, but you guys who claim you're divine masculines can't seem to fucking get off the pot and form a fucking group. One that has 70,000. How about this? How about just 500 men on Telegram that actually talk about what you're supposed to fucking do to make women feel safe on this fucking planet? Pachamama is a woman, you dumbass. She's a fucking woman. And you have never put your forehead to her and apologized for the shit you've done in many of your incarnations. Harming her and harming her children. All of her children. That means even animals. You've never done any of that shit. But we women have. We women have connected to nature. We have loved nature. We have cared for nature. Did you know that when the Confederate War happened, that the men went out to war and those farms were kicking ass and making money. And when the men came back, the farms went back down to, fucking barely making it. Did you know that? Women are innately good at organizing and creating homes. Safe homes. Women will not make love to you unless they feel safe. Does that make sense? Why would you make love to a man who you're married to who never makes you feel safe? Because she catches you on the porno. She catches you following fucking bimbos. She catches you fucking gambling, drinking. You abuse her. You call her names. You're screaming at her, telling her she's a loser. And you wonder why women are actually choosing to be alone. They don't want to deal with that shit anymore. And you divine masculines aren't saying shit. There are a few men that are. There are a few men that, you know who they're followed by? Fucking women. Fucking women. Following divine masculines to know, if nothing else, to know, I'm not crazy. There's at least one good guy who really is a warrior energy, a shaman energy, a loving father energy, a fucking monogamous energy, honoring himself, honoring his woman. Thank God there's one out there. But you're not protecting the feminine energy, the feminine spirit, if you're silent. And you can talk about all day long about your healing. Your healing starts in your mother's womb. If you can't heal your mother's pain because your father abused her, whether it was financial, physical, emotional, cheating, you got to start there, my friend. Because if she was fucking weeping while your father was going out banging some bitch while she was in labor, you've got trauma, my friend. It comes from that. It's actually quite simple. Follow the pain. Where does the pain come from? You were pushed out into the world through a woman's womb, not a man's. And that energy should be excavated. You should do a hypnotherapy or a self-meditation to find out what your mom felt while you were in her womb. It's one of the things I do in my hypnotherapy sessions. We go into the womb. We find out what daddy was feeling, what mommy was feeling. Do you know how accurate that shit is? They go back to their parents going, and the mother or father will go, yeah, that's exactly what was going on. And it's something unspoken because people have shame over that. Why would I tell my kid that while I was pregnant with my kid, I was fucking going through a massive depression and your father was never home? Why would I tell my kid that? I was crying damn near every day. And I was being told it was my hormones. Hormones erupt in a toxic release when a woman doesn't feel safe. It's really fucking simple. The brain erupts, the heart chakra explodes, and the womb, the root chakra, sacral, and the Hara chakra, you're in it. You're in it, my friend, my little brother. You're in it. Every move she's feeling, everything she's doing, you're feeling it. And if it is not of the highest quality or the best quality, then you're going to come out somewhat, as we all did, we're going to slip out with the energetic frequency of that womb. In fact, children hold on to the energetic frequency of their mother for the first 7 years of their life. That's why it's not the first 5 years that's important. It's the first 7. 7 fucking years. And if the kid doesn't feel, in other words, this is why your child, when a woman is depressed, massively depressed, and high anxiety over what you're fucking doing because you think it's okay. Oh, all guys will look at porn. No, not all guys, actually. Not all guys. Smart men don't. Because they know that their root chakra, they want it to belong to them, not some fucking aimless fucking screen page system that wants to grab it and own it. And why is that important? Because it actually impacts your ability to connect with your woman. This is science. It's not even woohoo. It's not even me. It makes sense, doesn't it? And be honest. Are you really present with your woman when you're making love to her, when you just jacked up yourself on seeing somebody online or in a magazine? Are you really thinking of your woman? Or are you connecting, closing your eyes with some fantasy bimbo you had in your mind? It's corrupting the root chakra. And if that's how you got her pregnant, my friend, you fucked up. Because when you decide to have a child, and what is in your mind and what is in the person's mind is the most important moment at conception. Because the energy of that conception now attracts certain high-level souls. Fuck men who think that they're high level. Your thoughts will create the seed that attracts a high grade soul or a fucked up soul. I mean, doesn't that make sense? Don't we already know that frequency attracts frequency? So if you're banging your wife because you were just thinking of someone else and you get her pregnant with that energy, that obviously the energy is all wrong. It's from the giddy up, it was wrong. I mean, one of the things I loved about the Bhagavad Gita the Hindustani traditions, one of the things I loved was that before a couple would make love to procreate, they would actually meditate. Mindful conception with a concept. And they would call on the souls. If you were lucky, you had 3 or 4, juggling to see, hey, yeah, I like these people. I could see them being my parents. If you were lucky. If you weren't lucky, the soul would that would be attracted to you would be on a low frequency. It would come in with problems because you were a match to it. Doesn't that make sense? Hello? I mean, is this blowing your mind? Doesn't that make sense? Right? So that's something people need to understand. So the feminine rage, when we look at it, is, don't get me wrong, it's toxic as fuck. Like, I totally get it. Like, there's no way I'll ever say, oh yeah, kumbaya, feminine rage, let's be angry and let's have little t-shirts of women holding men's heads up, like John the Baptist's head, that kind of, yeah, it's a no. It's a fucking no. And women need to control their rage so that it becomes not this white hot deviant rage, but a righteous rage, aka Archangel Michael, that kind of rage. That kind of rage, you can create fucking magic. Because eventually what you go into, you'll slide out of a righteous rage into a sense of surrender. And then you'll slide into a sense of contentment because you're realizing that you were successful in righting the wrongs. And so now things are good. Things are stable. The scales are now even Steven, right? And that's important. But if you are in a toxic, deviant rage, it's destructive as fuck. And you're not going to get anything done. No, I mean, literally nothing. Nothing. Oh yeah, I got shit done. No, not with deviant rage and not with toxic rage. Because it destroys everything in its wake. It just destroys. It does not create. So whenever you go into sitting with your rage, you have to look at it and go, okay. And this is, again, one of the best books ever written on rage. It's called Anger, actually, but it's by Thich Nhat Hanh. Anger by Thich Nhat Hanh. I read it. My twin read it. It's a wonderful book. But men, the masculines out there who think they got their shit together because they meditate every day, yeah, you just began. You're just beginning. And this concept of avoiding hard feelings, massive, large feelings, is taught to boys through our society's system. Our system teaches boys to lobotomize feeling. Read the book. I've told multiple, hundreds of people to read this book. It's called Raising Cain, Protecting the Emotional Life of Boys. Raising Cain. I've told every fucking man I ever met and every woman, if you want to learn about how men are made, read that fucking book. Because and by the way, men, when I say men, I mean the masculine. Because the word man for me means you're a man. What does that mean? You protect your woman. You take care of your woman. She takes care of you. You honor her intelligence. You honor her opinions. You honor her passions. She does the same for you. That's it. It's actually not difficult. You don't have to fucking go into therapy for fucking 20 years on a couch. You really don't. Do you love her? Yes. Then go love her. And when you fuck up, find out why. Why am I fucking up? Why am I fucking this up? Why am I sabotaging? Why am I fucking letting my ex call me? Why am I doing this? I remember a guy that I knew who he was married to his dream girl. I won't say her real name. Her name was, I'm going to say Jennifer. That was his dream. So Jennifer was his dream girl. He never stopped cheating. Never stopped cheating. And he died at 33 of a liver. And it was a shock. No one saw it coming. He didn't want to live, by the way, on the side note, but he boom, gone. How do you have a dream girl and then fuck other women? How does that work? Do you get what I'm saying? And ultimately, what did he want? He wanted distractions. He didn't want to live. Remember, I started out with he didn't like to live. Living for him was hard. But he kept having kids with his dream girl. And he kept cheating on his dream girl. And you men aren't talking about this shit. You got, I've been on TikTok for a few years. I've yet to hear any of you talk like that. Why? Why aren't you talking about this shit? You have friends. I mean, fuck, I have male friends, and I know what they're telling me. I have male clients. I know what they're telling me. So I don't understand. Why aren't you talking about it? You're talking about your pain, you're this, you're that. I don't know. Maybe you should look at the feminine pain as the very beginnings of your fucking beginnings. Because you see, for 9 months, the real estate you were sitting in before you were born was a woman's womb. So maybe if you figured out what was the pain of your mother and why you may hate your mother or love your mother or fear your mother or resent your mother, maybe you should find out why. Because it starts there. It starts right there. What the fuck happened to her? And then look at your father. What did he do to her? And then look at your fucking grandfather. What did your grandfather do to your father? And then you zig back and forth to generations going, who did this? Who did that? I'll go first. So my grandfather in France, Switzerland, whatever, went to a Jesuit school. Red flag right off the bat. And it was his grandmother that would bring a little hot plate to cook him food. Clearly, in this boarding school. In Europe, it was considered good to put kids in boarding schools. I went to a boarding school for a while. Okay, so long story short, what happened? Right before he died, when he could still speak, he died of Lou Gehrig's disease. He told my grandmother that he had been molested, abused, molested. He had to tell her. He had to release it. He had never, ever, ever, ever told her until he knew that he was going to lose the power to speak. And he told her. Now, what did that do in the family unit of 6 kids? They would have 13 course meals. I kid you not. We're talking about traditional French family in the World War I, World War II. And they would have 13 course in silence. In fucking silence. What did I create in my mother? It created her feeling unloved. Why? Because there was no color and joy and laughter in the household. Why? Because the grandfather, right, was sexually molested. And God knows what that means. What are the details? I don't know. Let your mind roam on that one. And he was in that school for a long time. Let your mind roam on that one. So that shit's serious. Because one motherfucker or two in a particular, supposedly, where this is why I don't like religions. Jesuit. Okay? There's no money there. Who's going to prove what? It fucked up him, the children, my mother, her aunt, my aunt and uncles, and then me. How did it fuck me up? Well, I had to kind of look at the very beginnings to see how I could heal myself. And this, me being pushed out out of her womb into the world with her dealing with depression, dealing with self-loathing. And if you saw her, she was the most beautiful. I mean, I'm not kidding. She was stunningly beautiful. Physically beautiful, mentally soft, and very smart, very curious about spirituality. But my point is, you have to look at this. You can't just judge your mother or father and go, well, they're just fucked up. Why are they fucked up? Don't you want to know why? Because if they're fucked up, I can assure you they fucked you up. Okay? And it presents itself in different ways. Like, for example, my husband, the father of my son, his father was being beaten so badly by his stepfather that he ended up running away out of Philadelphia. He ran away at the age of 14. It was that or getting another beating. What does that do psychologically to a human being? And what kind of man does that create? To then marry the mother, what happens from that? What do you think? Everything's fine? No, nothing's fine. And that's what men need to understand. You can't, you tell me all you want about your meditations. No, fucking tell me how you fucking went down the rabbit hole to find out where the shit was taught and how it fucked you up. And then now at that point, and you can do this rather quickly by having real conversations with your parents or grandparents. And if you have to call them and say, look, stop the bullshit. Just tell me the truth. What fucking happened? What fucking happened? Tell me the truth. But that means you can't judge them, you see. That means you're going to have to take your judgment, your little judgment, gavel, and throw that in the trash. There's a great movie. I've talked about it many, many times, and I'm going to talk to you about it again. It's called Kinsey. Kinsey with Liam Neeson and if you guys don't know what that is, Kinsey was a doctor who was a virgin at 40, who wrote the first book in 1959 called Sexuality of the Masculine, or Sexuality of the Male Sexuality. That's what it was called, sorry. 1959, first book. And that book, feel free to read it, but most importantly, watch the movie, because you see the trajectory he took. And that scene in the kitchen or living room, I forgot where it was, with his father sobbing, telling about his sexual abuse, is massive. It's a must. You must watch the movie. And you might want to watch the movie with your parents. I'm not kidding. Ask your mother and father to watch the fucking movie. Why? Well, because I want to talk to you about what happened. Because if you really want to heal, and by the way, some of your parents may totally deny it to the grave. That's on them. But you know what you'll figure out if you're intuitive and you're empathic is you'll be able to fill the dots from their silence. If you ask raw questions, you'll see their eyes flicker. You'll see their breathing quicken. You'll actually see that you've hit something. And that actually gives you a little puzzle piece of some information that they might want to not articulate to you, but you just got some intel. And why does that help? Because then you can actually start releasing it. I think to understand somebody is to understand yourself in a family unit. And so there's the feminine energy that is so beautiful. It's one of the reasons, it's my favorite type of gender to actually incarnate in, by the way. And I prefer it. Why? Well, because we are not afraid to know the truth. Now, are all women like that? Of course not. A lot of women are in massive denial. Look at, maybe your mother's in massive denial, right? Maybe not. But for the most part, when we come into the spiritual awakening, we want to know the truth. We want to know why, how, when, and then you can purge. You can say, well, that's mine, but this is definitely not mine. This is definitely not mine, and I'm not holding on to that anymore. So that's really important. Thank you so much for liking the live. You're so sweet. Any questions or comments on that? It's so important to have the courage. And you're not here to destroy your parents, don't get me wrong, or your grandparents. It's not there. You're not there to beat them up. You're actually there, to be honest with you. Here's what you really have to understand. You're there to help them release that shit, those chains around their necks and their chest and their hips. You're here to release that for them. Because when you ask the question and they can release the trauma in the light of day, it no longer rots inside of them. It's actually a service. And they're saying, my guys are saying, it's a public service. Because it creates an energetic domino effect, the 100 monkey theory, right? It's very, very important. And it's not pleasant. And you may, I hope to God you experience this, where you are actually sobbing at the kitchen table with your parents, holding each other's forearms and just looking into each other's tear-stained faces, really helping them release this shit, these secrets. It could go as far as incest. It could go that far. And you cannot judge. Do not judge. Not okay. Do not judge. You don't know all the minute details that would have driven a situation in that sector. I could tell you stories that would blow your fucking mind. The way religion oppresses the concept of sexuality and how they strip knowledge from people puts them in a very precarious, vulnerable, naive situations. And when they realize the truth, it blows their mind. I'll give you an example. They're just telling me, holy shit. Yeah, okay. There's a woman that I followed. Her name was Psalm. I'm trying to remember, like Psalm Psalm, Psalm. I think it was called, her name was Psalm Isadora, something like that. And she was a tantric teacher. And of course, she lived in a Christian cult. And there was some really rank shit that was normalized by the women. Yeah, women are fucking, they like I said, toxic women are just as dangerous as a toxic man. Anyway, let me move on. So her name was Psalm, and so anyway, let me move on. So her name was Psalm, and so she lived in this, she was raised in this very cultish Christian system. And, they had the farm animals and they grew fucking crops, the whole bit. Other things were happening at night with her father, if you get my drift, which was normalized by her mother. And at 15 years old, she ran away. She ran away and established herself as an incredible tantric coach. But she committed harikari at around 45. And if you see her, Psalm, tantric coach, whatever, look it up. Absolutely a stunningly physically beautiful woman. Incredible shape, muscular arms, large almond dark eyes, gorgeous dark hair, beautiful ivories. You're like, why? The world is at your feet, right? The world is at your feet, and you're fucking helping people with their own issues, right? In the root chakra issue. And she took her life. Because at the end of the day, she could not continue. I think the shadows, the flashbacks, it was too much. But here's the problem that many of you don't understand. You can be an amazing teacher, and the problem with being an amazing teacher, because it's a trap, is that now at that point, you no longer allow yourself to be vulnerable to keep people that can help you, because even teachers need a healer. In fact, it's a rule I tell people. If you're a healer, you better fucking find yourself a healer. It's not a joke. I've worked with healers for my own child when he was very young. And I at least 2 of my healers that I was working with ended up in the hospital, swear to God, for 3 or 4 days. Nothing wrong with them. No tests, nothing blood, nothing wrong. Energy is energy. And if you allow yourself to get drained, you'll end up in the hospital. So a healer should always have a healer. But going back to Psalm, she probably didn't have a healer. She probably had your basic talk therapist and not a fucking somatic healer. And so you have to understand that these teachers, and that includes me, we are vulnerable. There are things that we still need to process and let go. That does not deter from the power of our ability to heal and to offer sacred space for people. But what we need to start understanding is that this problem of the root chakra being harmed and attacked is something that I wonder how far back did they know? I mean, how many thousands of years did they know that if they fucked with our root chakra, we'd be fucked up for the first 20 or 30 years of our lives or our entire life? There are people who, I just saw a video of a young man, a Botticelli man, the face of a Botticelli angel, and with a weight problem, because he's protecting his body. Talking about what happened to him and his mother's brother when he was 15, and how his mother won't believe him. And he said, I'm 32, excuse me, and he said, I'll never get over it. That's a declaration. I'll never get over it. So he's made himself vulnerable. How many of you divine masculines are going to reach out to him? How many? None? Probably none. Why? Because you don't want to have that conversation. Why? Because maybe it happened to you and you don't want to open that Pandora's box. See, the difference between us as feminines is that we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We will absolutely support each other. We will absolutely believe you. If a sister comes to me and says, this happened to me, I believe you, sister. There's no second thoughts. Tell me what happened. Do you, or maybe you don't want to talk about it. How do you feel right now? You men don't do that with each other. And you should be fucking ashamed. Because that's, to me, the height of cowardice. That's being a coward. When you can't open sacred space to another masculine and you call yourself a man, you're not a man. You're not. That's why I've made the comment, which makes my son laugh. But it is true. I'm more of a man than most men. Why? Because I talk like a man, but I'm a woman. That means I'm empathic, but I won't judge you for being vulnerable. I'm not going to think you're less of a man for fucking falling apart. I'm not afraid of you falling apart. I want you to fall apart. I'm strong enough to take it. But you men that call yourself men, you're not doing that shit for your brothers. You're not. If you were, you'd be talking about it. You'd be telling us how you've done it. And I keep scrolling and watching these men who are struggling with being bisexual and keep it a secret. Men who have a secret sex life with other men and they won't talk about it. You know who talks about it? Gay men. Most of the men that they hook up with are straight. Why aren't you talking about this shit? Why aren't you saying, I'm not sure if I'm bisexual. Like sometimes I just need to be with a man. Let the fucking woman you're with know. If she can't be with you, then you should let her go. There is so much shit that men won't talk about. It's insane. Insane. And it's not helping this planet. You hiding your bullshit. Let me read your comments. My grandmother held her pain to the grave. It would have been healing for all of us to speak of it. I am so sorry about that. I've experienced and still am. Minds have been attacked since babies and still attacked for once they control all chakras. I'm sorry about that. I really am. It's many, but you know, you guys need to go public. I'm sorry. Public or fuck public. Create a man circle based on Iron John by David Bly. Robert Bly, I think it's Robert Bly. It's called Iron John. And in the 90s, these men were going, I've talked about it before, but I'll repeat myself. They were going into the woods for the weekend. You know, it started on a Friday. They get together, set up, firewood, and they all had their individual tents. And they would get together and fucking talk about the shit that, being beaten up by their fathers, being beaten up by their mothers. Don't think women don't beat up their sons. Being abused by their mother because they look like their father who left them, shit like that. And they'd fucking cry and cry and cry. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, it ended. Boom, gone, like it never happened. Why? And where are these men who were running these little groups? Where the fuck are you people? Where are you? There was a man who was an influencer, good-looking man. Again, everything for him. The world at his feet. Tall, good-looking, muscular, whatever the fuck a woman wants, there he was. And he actually took his own life. And when he was talking about and I hate the word mental health. Fuck the word mental health. Fuck that word. It's called depression. Why? The fucking system is corrupt. Who the fuck can be healthy mentally in this system? I mean, really, honestly. Why do you think people are popping so much shit? Just to straight line. Most of my masculine friends, when I used to work in my 30s, would tell me, I don't want to feel shit. I don't want to feel anything. No shit. Working 9 to 5 with that bullshit, and then watching a football game, and then getting a little drunk, or maybe very drunk, and sitting there with, because you want a little more extra to get totally ripped, sitting there going, what's the point of this shit? What's the point? That's called mental intelligence, to realize that this is not it. Me sitting in my couch, too fried to fucking do anything with my kids, is not a mental health crisis. The 1% system is a health crisis to all of our mental health. But before we get to that point, men need to do better. And you guys are fucking up. You guys are fucking, you want to meet, football analogy? You're fumbling the fucking ball. Okay? You're fumbling the fucking ball and you're fucking up and you're running to your little corners in your closets and fucking I'm just in pain. Yeah, we're all in fucking pain. All of us are in pain. Get the fuck out of your closet and talk about it. Talk about it. Because we're not going to get anywhere if you guys, all you men who think you're going on your journey of healing, keep running back to your fucking closet. I want to be alone. Yeah, so do I. I want to be alone. I want to know I can walk down the street at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning and not be dragged into someone's car and harmed. I'd like to be able to go jogging at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and not disappear. I'd like to be a Native American girl and maybe get off the school bus early so I can maybe take a walk because the day's so good and not fucking disappear. How's that? Yeah, I want to be alone too. You men need to fucking do something because you're fucking doing nothing. You're so busy licking your own wounds or your own pain that you're not fucking doing anything. You're not angry enough. Why do you think feminine rage has exploded out of fucking control? And it's toxic. Women need men. And most of you are fucking boys. You're boys. So grow yourself, manhood, by looking at how it started. It's not good enough to stay alive for your kids. It's not good enough for you to just stay alive because you believe in something greater and you know that at some point you'll get to healing. Healing is messy, my friend. Sometimes you fucking dribble, you fall, you're wounded, you're bruised, and you still fucking go live, or you fucking do a video, or you do a podcast, even if you start sobbing. It doesn't fucking matter. I'll get my shit together, then I'll do something. No, you're not going to get your shit together because sometimes what it takes is for you to go live or in a video and see a comment of one fucking man saying, I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning playing roulette with my pistol and I saw your video and I stopped. And I sobbed. Thank you, brother, for making that content. I listened to it all night long. I know it's only 10 minutes, but I just kept it on replay on YouTube. I fell asleep with your voice. Do you understand that men need to know that the pain they feel isn't insane? Do you realize that they need to hear your voice, not mine? They need to hear your voice, not mine. And what I find disgusting is it's women like me talking about this shit and you're not. You're not. You're not talking about your sexual hangups. You're not talking about your sexual fears, your fucking fears of intimacy, your fear of failure, your fear that you're going to fuck her up, your fear that you're going to be like your dad. You're not talking about it. You're not. You're fucking not. And if she heard you say the truth, she'd soothe you. She'd open a sacred circle that you wouldn't see, but energetically you'd feel, and you would walk out of that circle reborn. But she can't fucking protect you, hold space for you, if you don't speak a complete, unedited truth. And if she laughs at you, and if she literally, shames you, she's not your bitch. She's a bitch. You need to find a woman that is going to understand you, but you cannot be a boy. You cannot be weak. When shit hits the fan, you got to be the man. And she needs to know that. How does that, what it means, have your shit together as a man? What does that mean? I don't know. Fucking look at what men were doing 300-400 years ago. What did they do to handle and protect property, their family? Go back to the old ways. But as a man, you also have to give your woman a sense that her feelings are valid. That means that if you're married to a bimbo who has empty thoughts, you're not going to be able to do it with a bimbo. It's not brain surgery. Don't get involved with something who you only like the way they look. Because when her insipid mouth opens, you're going to hear bullshit and you're going to go, I can't fucking listen to this shit. Well, no shit. No one's asking you to listen. I couldn't listen to it myself. There are strong, powerful women. Different energies. from Kali to Shakti to Kuan Yin. And again, if you don't know what that is, you need to look it up. Get off your ass and fucking go on the Kali, Kuan Yin, Shakti. Just look. Look. What does that mean? What does that look like? What are these fucking examples of feminine energy? And pick the one that, and then go and literally articulate to the universe, this is, I want a Shakti, I want a Kali, I need to have a warrior. You know, people laugh at me when I come up with Conan the Barbarian, the movie, The Barbarian, okay? The first one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Why do I keep mentioning this movie? Because he's fucking with a badass bitch. She's a Kali. She's a warrior. She's a warrior energy, and she dies, and he never gets over it. He never, does he have sex with other, bimbos, little fly girls, but that's his woman. Even in death, that's still his woman. And she's a Kali energy. And she turns into Shakti when they're intimate. Watch the movie. It's a fucking good movie. And when people poo-poo, oh, hot Conan. Well, it's a good movie because it actually shows that. So as a man, and there are men that do that, literally, I don't care what she says, as long as she's pretty. I don't care what she looks like. I mean, what she thinks. I mean, for a long time, we were told, right, that pretty is as pretty does, and just be pretty and shut your mouth. Like, the best woman is a silent woman. I mean, what the fuck? I'm not kidding. That woman will raise you dumb children. Do you understand? You'll have bimbo children. A bimbo is as bimbo does. Right? So if you have a woman with opinions, passions, dreams, aspirations, a drive, and she happens to be packaged the way you like, you just hit the lotto. But most men are so dumb. And I'm just going to say it, they don't even fucking realize it. They prefer a silent bimbo. And this is why Andrew Tate got the fucking awakening. I remember him saying someday, what was it? He said, oh yeah, me and Tristan go, we'll just in a dime, we'll be packed and ready to go. And meanwhile, some of my women will be afraid of not running out of their foundation. Foundation? A real woman doesn't need a foundation to go on a trip on the spur. A real woman will have, all she needs is a good red lipstick and she's out the door with you. In fact, she's fucking waiting for you, honking the horn. I'm kidding. But I'm not kidding. You need to start looking as a man for a woman that you respect, that actually inspires you, that questions your ideas, that reminds you of your dreams, that triggers the fuck out of you sexually and mentally. Because she's healing your root chakra as you're healing hers. And if you're too scared to have a woman, then yeah, you'll be saddled with bimbos. She'll pop out some kids and you'll have like idiot kids. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. Not popular, not politically correct. Who gives a fuck? I'm being honest. They know that when they breed animals. If you have, depending on the mental capacity of the animal and its intelligence and its level of nurturing and all of that, they won't, if it doesn't have all the they don't do it. They don't breed. I don't know why human beings don't understand those basic, it doesn't matter what she looks like so much as who is she. The physical aspect will come. There was an amazing guy. He was a bodybuilder. I was telling my son this. The girl was like 350 pounds. I'm sorry. 350 pounds. Something like that. 300, whatever. 5'5", 5'6". And he was a bodybuilder. He fell in love with her soul, her mind. They went to the gym all the time because she wanted to be with him and they were having fun. She went down to like 175 and eventually she went down to 144. He loved her soul. And because he loved her for who, she became this gorgeous fucking goddess. She was stunning. I mean, you know, the concept of, oh my God, but you have such a pretty face. Yeah, well, her body fucking slammed it. He fell in love with her. And because he loved to lift weights, she would go with him and he never shamed her. He would teach her what he knew. And it took a year, maybe two, maybe a year and a half. And before you know it, there was this goddess. But he loved her mind and he loved her spirit first. And she loved him so much she went to the gym with him. Not because she was afraid of other women. Clearly, he fell in love with her. He could have had a hottie, but he didn't. Why? Because maybe that's not what he was into. He wanted something more than that. They're amazing men, don't get me wrong, but they're not vocal. They don't go public, and that's the problem. I need you guys those kinds of guys, like the guy who problem. I need you guys those kinds of guys, like the guy who married the girl who short red hair, who had a full mastectomy, no breast at all, with a tattoo of an angel, and he married her, and they had a baby. And good looking guy, 6'4", big blue eyes, gorgeous man in Canada, married her. Not her breasts, her. He didn't care about her breasts. You don't think he could get a chick with breasts? Trust me, the guy was gorgeous. She was gorgeous too. She just didn't have what men think make you a woman. A set. Gorgeous man. Was he vocal? No. And see, that's the problem. That's the problem. I need you men like that to be vocal. I need you men to start talking about why. Why did you choose a woman that was 350 pounds? Why did you choose a woman with no breasts? Why? Let people know. I remember going after Playboy and their editorial department saying, you've made a lot of money off our TITS. How about, doing a cover, centerfold, the whole bit with a woman who has none? How's that for an idea? No response. That was 10 years ago. Absolutely no response. Because we know that visually we are wiring men to want something that is technically impossible with all the airbrushing and now with AI. We know this. You guys know this. You men know this. You're not dumb. And yet you're still going for the okie doke. You're still drinking that fucking Kool-Aid like it's fucking God's word. And you need to call men out. You need to call out these religious, dogmatic systems that are destroying you as masculines. Because if they destroy women, they destroy you. And when men are destroyed, we're seeing the results. Because men are destroyed for the most part. There are very few men that have their shit together. And I don't mean money. I mean fucking conscious spiritual power. Fuck money. When you are consciously, spiritually powerful, abundance will come. Exactly what you need or more. You will never need anything. Clearly, being a billionaire is not a flex. But what I will say is that when men are destroyed, women are destroyed. When women are destroyed, men are destroyed. It's that simple. And we can clearly see that. And we know men who are doing what they're doing with like this little brothel with the little robot chicks in Germany, for example, and they're trying to manufacture these doll type things. I mean, watch the movie Blade Runner. It's in the movie Blade Runner. They were talking about that shit in the fucking 80s. Because they know the sick psychology of your average Joe. Shut up and look pretty. Be quiet. Wear something more revealing. Or why are you wearing that? It's very interesting. And it's not going to help you evolve spiritually. If you're on the ascension train, you think you are, yeah, you need to help be a part of the solution, not the problem. And you being quiet is making you part of the problem. Even silence is not enough. This is not the timeline to be silent about anything. Haven't you noticed? It's not. Because you see, you have a daughter. And you might be one of these men that actually respects your daughter and protects your daughter and doesn't want any harm to your daughter. And we know there are fathers out there that want other things with their daughter. And you know what I'm talking about. Let's not play like we're, oh my God, this is so shocking. No, it's more common than you think. And why is it? Why is it common? Well, because we have sexualized women. Old enough to pee. That's all I gotta say. You know the end of the line of that sentence? I've heard it since the 70s. Why is it that you guys aren't saying shit? Why aren't you saying anything? I'm not ready. I'm still on my healing journey. Heal while you fucking sob while you're doing a podcast. I've cried on my lives. You've heard me cry. Some of you that follow me, you've heard me cry. Because you're not ever going to be fully healed at the level of purity that we all seek. That comes when we drop these garments, these 3D density garments. That's when we realize, holy shit, what a fucking wow. It's like bobbing out of water after holding your breath for 2 minutes. The oxygen is sweet. So the final healing is when we drop our bodies. And then it continues, especially if you're not coming back into 3D. There's a whole, I talked about the decontamination chamber, and I'm using terms that we understand. So I'm not grunting, and gargling. So that's the term I'm using, but that's not actually what it is. And you guys, I know you guys know what I'm talking about. So the healing journey is the doing. It's not going into your little lone wolf situation. For what, you don't think I'd love to be a lone wolf? Do you really like me? Look, if I really wanted to be famous, I'd be on the screen constantly. I'd be showing my face. I'd be advertising my face. I'd be all over the place with my face. Clearly, I don't want to fucking be bothered. And clearly, I honestly, the only reason why you hear my voice as it is because there's no AI to change my voice, to be honest. Like, I want anonymity and I want silence. If I had a trust fund, would I be silent? Probably for a while. And I do go silent sometimes. But then I would come out. You know why? Because there's a drive in me. I can't even explain it. If I was sitting on $100 million, I would still probably do these lives. Why? Well, because I can't ascend unless I explain to you what it takes for me to ascend, for you to ascend. And I'm just the tip of I'm just a grain of sand. I'm just a drop in the water of the ocean of consciousness. There's multiple ways to ascend, but I can tell you that silence, the silence of your trauma and the silence of your story, that silencing it that's not going to work. I remember a young man when I was working at Eddie Bauer. I was like 29 or whatever. And we were talking about being essayed, okay? We were talking about the trauma of that. And I was still kicking rocks on the idea. I didn't fully know my own personal yet. But he did. He fucking remembered. And he told me, we talked about it many times, a beautiful masculine. God knows what happened to him. But he gave me the title of a book to buy called When Rabbits Howl. When Rabbits Howl. And I read that book twice. Because I always do. And it's a traumatic book to read. I'm not joking. But it's about a woman who goes into hypnotherapy and starts remembering what is being done to her by her stepfather. Now, had she stayed silent and never told her story because of shame or whatever the fuck she thought, a lot of people wouldn't have been helped. That book has saved people's lives. Because you see, the concept of remembering as it's happening is a lie. When people are going through trauma, children in specifics, there's a compartment that shuts it down for them so they can survive the experience again and again. And that's why hypnotherapy is a trigger switch when they're ready, which is what happened to me at 31. I went to a hypnotherapist and said, I went in for a I wanted to know Egypt and all this shit. And then suddenly I was articulating shit. And the hypnotherapist said, I think we need to look at that. And I went, you know what? You're right. Let's fucking go all in. And I did. And I remember the father of my son being terrified of me doing that because he said it will change you. And he was right. But he also was terrified of doing it for himself. Terrified. And what I learned a long time, I don't know where I learned it. Well, I kind of know, but is that when I'm scared shitless, I do it. I force myself to do it. If it scares me, it must be done. Because I know I'm about to fucking cross a Rubicon and that I'm about to grow exponentially. It's going to hurt, but I'm going to grow. And I can't ascend if I'm not growing. And I can't ascend if I'm not willing to see my truth. Because guess what? When you die and you go on the other side and you do life reviews, it's not one life review. It's multiple. Just so you know, they'll go, hey, at 33, this and this happened. Can you tell us what you thought? You know, I'm not kidding. So you might as well face it here, because you're going to face it on the other side anyway. So you might as well do it here. Get as much work done here so that when you do the life review, you can go, oh yeah, that happened. I could have done better. Yeah, I'm trying to forgive myself still. I'm still dealing with the lack of forgiveness. I've had a lot of shame on that one. When I was 34, oh my God, that was hard for me. You see what I'm saying? You might as well be doing now. There'll be a lot less shit to do on the other side. Regardless, you're going to be facing this shit. Regardless. It doesn't matter what you think. You're going to face this because it's a protocol. So if you have any spiritual compass in your heart chakra, you'll understand that what I just said is absolutely 100,000% correct. And the difference between the feminine and the masculine is that when we embody the feminine with all the hormones and all that good juices and all that good stuff, we are more likely to face the ugly, because we want to just get over this shit. We're a lot of us have incarnated to urgently want to heal as fast as much shit as possible. That's why many of us are celibate, staying in, but we're still doing content, my friend. Where the fuck are you, my masculine brothers? You keep talking about your pain and this and relationships and women. No, fucking look at you. Look at you, the womb you came from, the man who fucking impregnated her, your father. What the hell was going on there? And then look at the grandparents on both sides to see what the fuck went on there. You see? And the concept of bisexuality, my number, not a science number, 75% of straight male, quote unquote, are fucking doing, they either want to or they're doing it in the shadows with gay males. Talk to any gay man. Just ask them. And you guys think you're not bisexual. No, that's a bisexual. And be honest about it. Just fucking be honest. I'm bisexual. Okay. Well, can you be monogamous? I don't know. Sometimes I have an urge. We'll have to talk about that. I don't feel comfortable. I don't care if it's a woman or a man. You not being monogamous to me. How can we work on monogamy? You can be bisexual and monogamous. You can. But you can't hide this shit from a woman, because women know. I've done readings where I said, is he bisexual? Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, I've been thinking he might be. I saw a video on his phone and I saw, yeah, women, we're not dumb. You're hiding the obvious. And it doesn't make you less masculine, my friend. It doesn't at all. I talk about the sacred band of Thebes. They were gay male warriors. And they were lovers. You know, it's a famous band called the Sacred Band of Thebes. They should be teaching that shit in West Point. I wonder if they do. I doubt it, but whatever. The point is, it doesn't make you less than. It makes you honest. Yes, I'm bisexual. Yes, I've had a couple with men, but I don't know. I mean, I'm curious. Okay, well, what is it that you're curious about? Well, sometimes I just want it rough. Okay, well, how can I do that for you? What is wrong with you men? Why can't you just say? And if the woman says no, then it's okay. Let her go. Find someone who is going to match your pace. There's nothing wrong with being transparent about what you need. And someone will actually love it and go, my God, thank God you keep treating me like a porcelain doll. I'm so glad you were honest with me. Yeah, I want to F too. Sometimes I just want it rough. Sometimes I want to take you down and take you like, I want to be the man. Some men need that. There's so much beauty and fun that men are like losing out on because they just want to play this weird ass game. It doesn't make any sense. But make sure that you're wired for it, because what happens and what people don't understand is if you go free willy with your, you could actually harm yourself. So be honest. Am I doing this because this was taught to me, or am I, or is this part of me as a soul that I've made love to men and I've made love to women, same gender, opposite gender, or is it from my trauma? And if it's from your trauma, and again, I'll repeat myself, I remember my friend he went from one foster care to another, to another, to another. His name was Jerry. And Jerry said, if I'd never been in foster care, I'd be straight. By the way, he said it while we were having dinner with his gay boyfriend. He was very transparent about it. If I had not been through all that, I'd be straight. That's an honest self-assessment. Nothing wrong with it. But he was too far gone now in his mind, right? To ever be with, he didn't want to be with a woman. Well, okay, fine. But now you have a beautiful life with your lover who adores you. It's all good. But the point is, like, fucking know what drives your desires. Know it. And this is the same for women. Okay? I can't tell you, at 14, when I was 14, I had women fucking hitting on me and men. It was ridiculous. In the 70s. It was absolutely ridiculous. Thank God my parents were so open about sex talk and this and that I didn't fucking freak out. But had I been born in a religious cult or religious order or, born again this or whatever the fuck religions, I probably would have been fucked up. Because I would have been confused, naive, and not understanding all of these weird energies coming at me who desired me because I was fresh meat. Let's be honest. These religions are not helping our kids. They're not helping our kids. They're not helping our society in any aspect. Spirituality is, though. You see, I'm talking to you from a spiritual point of view. I'm talking about reincarnation. I'm talking about the souls being somewhat androgynous, and eventually we prefer gender or male, masculine or feminine. Presentation, even in the spirit world, even in that world, I prefer to present myself as a feminine, even in the spirit world. It's my favorite garment. Even if it's made of light, plasma, I prefer it. Because I happen to be in a beautiful connection with a very, very powerful, sacred masculine. And I love that contrast. And he loves it too, on the other side of the veils. I couldn't talk to you like that if I was following any fucking dogmatic religion at all. I wouldn't even have the wherewithal. I wouldn't even have the ability to download the wisdoms coming to me as I speak to you now. Does that make sense? So you men have to become very, very exact in the way you start sharing your truths, your experiences, your scars, your shame. Just do it. If it scares you, it must be done. Oh, yes. So any questions or comments? Frankincense oil and mascara, I'm there. Exactly. You're talking about, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, Kali is a baddie. She is a baddie. And thank you for the likes. But hopefully this was very informative for you, empowering for you. If you have a masculine brother, father, have them listen to this. Yeah, I know that people are always accusing me of being angry. And I've talked about it in my lives before. And in particular, it's probably the puritanical foundation of this kind of America and Anglo-Saxons. You guys are frightened of passion. Frightened. It frightens the fuck out of you because it was pushed down your throat. Puritanical ideas. Okay? And trust me, when I'm angry, you'll know. You'll know. I'm not angry. I'm urgent. I'm passionate. And passion, if you ever talk to any French person, I don't know if you've ever talked to French people, but even my mom would say, I go, Mom, you sound angry. She goes, I'm not angry. I'm just urgent. I have shit to do in French, right? And it's like, so there are certain parts of the world where we come off a certain energy. But to be honest, I'm not going to fucking ever dilute or edit my passions nor my energy to make people calm. One of the people I love is George Galloway. And George Galloway is fucking passionate. I've never seen him as angry. Oh, yeah, once. Yeah. I saw him once angry in an Oxford talk. He turned red. But typically, He constantly talks like that. He talks about injustice with righteous passion, as he should. Why shouldn't he be fucking urgent and passionate about injustice when people are dying? It's not like you feel like you have all day long to fucking do it. But the reason why I'm saying to you that we as feminines need to push our masculines to take the microphone, I'm not kidding. This is an SOS call. Get off your fucking ass and stop your bullshit as men. Oh, well, I've got shit going on and I've got stuff and I, my ex and my baby mama and the baba boomba. It's like, shut up, just shut up and fucking take the mic. Cry. Start out with a cry. Start out with a wail, a yell, a call. And then start talking from your heart. Just talk about what comes to your heart and erupts out of your throat chakra and then release it. Open your mouth and say the words. That's it. Don't prepare. Don't have an agenda. Don't think of what you're going to, just let it roll. And then listen to it and go, I feel really scared and vulnerable. I'm not sure I want people to know that about me. So can it, or edit it out. Maybe there's something that you really aren't ready and prepared to expose to the world. Just like me, I'm very careful about how much I share about my personal life because it's none of your fucking business. It really actually isn't. It's not gonna help you heal. Trust me. My pain in this particular concept isn't gonna help you heal. And if I think it's gonna help you heal, I share it. Live. It's still there. You can watch it. And I'm crying. Because I knew it could help you. Why? Because if you saw the regret, you can still regret. You can still second guess. And it's okay for people to see a person grieve. And not dilute the fact that they're spiritual and having a human experience. Having a human experience while you're spiritual means that you're falling apart. Oh, that's mental health, No, it's not. It means I'm in a situation, in an infrastructure that was so corrupt in the medical industry that he died of a brain cancer that had he been in any other socialized medical system, he could have survived. And all of these things collide in multiple levels of truth. Do I miss him? Yes. Am I still connecting with him? Yes. So these types of vulnerable aspects of truth, yes. Should I tell you the details of what happened when I was molested? How is that going to help you? It's not going to help you. What you need to know in that fact is that you're not alone. It happened to me. Almost every man I've ever met, it's happened to him. Almost every woman I've ever met, it happened to her. That means that my number, not official, that means that maybe 70 to 80% of people have gone through that as children. Very uncomfortable shit. And it will fuck you up for the rest of your life unless you deconstruct it and you purge it and you heal it. Why do you think I have Purging Past Lovers and Predators in my meditation on my playlist? Did you notice? Predator. Purging Past Lovers and Predators. Do you understand? I still have flashbacks of saying, I remember being in Pacific Palisades. Why am I saying that? Because it should have been a safe place. And going to school, my school bus was down the hill from where I lived, and some strange man rolling his window down, asking if I wanted a ride. How I shook. I'm like 13 and a half, 14 years old. Shaking. Running to the school bus stop where there would be other kids there. And sure enough, you men need to call these motherfuckers out. Period. And you're not doing it. I remember my brother walking by, and he was 13 in New York City, and this gay guy fucking calling him out every fucking day. This guy, my brother had to cross the street. So it's not a one-sided, it's only women. It's happening to men, boys, children who are masculine, who are being heckled at by men. And they're feeling just as unsafe as we did when we were teenage girls. I want you to talk about it. Talk about it. Call it out. What the fuck is going on where men think it's okay to heckle children, teenagers coming from school or going to school? Who the fuck are you? And what's beautiful is what we are seeing is men undercover trapping men who are predators. That's beautiful. And there's a guy I'm following who does that. So, but they're not talking about, and they're doing a lot, okay? They're doing a lot, far more than anybody on the planet, because they're out there trapping these predators and putting them on camera and exposing them. But you know what I'd like to know? I'd like to know, why are you doing this, kind sir, kind gentleman, my beautiful warrior, masculine brother? Were you molested? Did it happen to you? What drove you to become the solution to this problem? I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to hear your rage. I'd love to hear your passion, your urgency in saving victims, potential victims. I'd love to hear why you're doing it. Why am I doing what I'm doing as a twin flame coach and what I do on the spiritual ascension? Because I saw too many fucking hacks playing guru bullshit and making people feel like they were losing their minds. Like Twin Flame Universe. I'm all out after those motherfuckers. All out. And you know what? They are kicking ass, making money left over. The level of ignorance in people on the spiritual journey is unfucking hinged. And then what happens is they pay money to these pieces of shit, get harmed, brutally harmed spiritually, go through psychosis, have nervous breakdowns, and some barely survive themselves from self-harm. And they're not being called out. I call them out damn near every other 3 lives. Why? Because they're dangerous. These are spiritual predators. And we have spiritual predators. Why am I mixing all of that energy? Because I need us to understand that we cannot remain silent about any injustice that will harm naive human beings. And as a masculine, it is your job to do what you need to do to make sure that the harm is lessened or removed. So you can help us by calling out predators, calling out, minded. There was a video I just, the guy's 20, he's interviewing this guy who's 45 years old, he looks like he's 55. But he talks about how it's okay for him to date 18-year-old girls. And he shames this 21-year-old into not understanding that a 45-year-old, that it's about the hips and it's about breeding and it's about bullshit. And if a woman my age, I'm going to be blunt, if a woman my age calls out a man like that, and I'll fucking make him feel like he's a 2-year-old sucking on his thumb. I will fucking destroy him. Trust me. You've never seen me talk like that. You don't want to. But the potency of that is still not good enough. It needs to come from a masculine voice. It can, even though I will harm his fucking mental health, since we're going to go there, and I will, it still will not have the potency, because afterwards he'll go, oh, she's just old. She's just jealous. Whereas if a man tells him, and another man tells him, and another man tells him, at that point he can't, because at that point you've just taken him down. And now he can't argue the point. You've just taken him down. And now he can't argue the point. You have to create circles. You have to create groups. If the red pillars can do it, you can do it too. And you could do it for men who are lost, who want support, who want to speak their truth. A man is more likely to tell you about what happened with his grandfather or the babysitter than he is to tell me. I mean, he'll tell me because they have. That's why I know so much shit, because I've had men tell me shit that took him out. But he is more likely to gain a sense of self-respect if another man holds sacred space as he collapses into exposing what happened to him when he was 2 years old, 5 years old, 14 years old. And you're not making yourself known. You are not that lighthouse. No one knows where the fuck you are. Okay? And that's the work that we need from you. All right? So, thank you for being here. I'm going to upload this on YouTube. And passion is seen as impolite. We need to change that BS narrative. Ow! Ian just bit me. Christ, my cat wants my attention. Anyway, you're absolutely right. Passion is seen as impolite. We need to change that BS narrative. Absolutely. You know, that whole thing that was about demure, that was a way to castigate us. Oh, you're so sweet. I love you too, sweetie. Yeah. The whole demure, it went for, and then me and Andromeda were talking so much shit about it. We're like, demure my ass. Like, fuck you with demure, right? And so we're keeping sacred guardianship of the feminine voice. Men aren't for the masculine voice. In other words, your guardianship is not to completely protect guys that are into porn and dating 18-year-old girls. That's not protecting shit. You're protecting, in your silence, you're protecting toxic behavior. You're protecting an inability for us to come into union. Yeshua was not dating an 18-year-old. He was dating Mary Magdalena. He was dating Mary Magdalena, who was his equal. And he loved her for it. He loved her for it. And she had a very strong, powerful Palestinian face, Semitic, Arabic, okay? And she had not just a beautiful, but a strong face. Again, I keep thinking of Sami Zadora. That was her name. I think it was Sami Zadora, the woman I talked about who took her life because she couldn't do it anymore. We can't keep losing powerful people. Powerful people are the strongest people, and they're the most likely to suffer in silence and eventually say, fuck it, I'm out. Fuck it, I can't do this. Does that make sense? So in the way we protect them is more and more voices rise and we circle the wagons of spiritual power. Okay? All right, my loves. I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. I'll upload this, other videos. Follow me on YouTube. Please comment on this live or on this pre-recorded. Please comment, talk to each other, find out who you are to each other. Feel free to join my Starseeds Awakening group. It's our group. Me and Andromeda Flame run these three groups. Esoteric Book Club. And we have the Starseeds Awakening. And and if you want help in doing a group of shamanic, shaman masculines or I don't know, calling it something. I don't know what the fuck. I mean, do anything. Call it the Druid Circle, the Brotherhood Circle, the Red Rose Brotherhood Circle, whatever, fucking whatever. Do something, but just do something. Because I'm never going to be as powerful as you as an influence for male healing. I never will. Not in this incarnation. I just won't. I can't. Because there's an innate lack of... I'm going to be honest, respect for the feminine. It's innately in most masculines. It's been bred into them in each generation. And social media has done its work. When you have people like Bonnie Blue and you've got fucking 1,000 men standing in line, one toxic bitch, 1,000 toxic men. That's all. I'll leave it at that. Fuck it. Clearly there's more of that than us being toxic. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm not saying we're not. I've illustrated well, I hope. But when 1,000 men are willing to do 3 seconds for one bimbo. You see, I need you men to start fucking talking. All right, sending you much love on your journey. Namaste. Be well.